So when I was in seminary 15, 20, 6, 17, 18 years ago now, there was a guy who started a year after me, and he was a joker. He was absolutely hilarious. He was great fun to have around the place. He had this little habit of trying to make people laugh during Mass, which would never happen here, of course. Nobody would ever do that here. But he tried to make people laugh. So one of the things he'd do is, he'd fold his arms like this and poke the fellow beside him. I mean, it's really childish. I mean, we were all, 21, 2, 3. We were all around that age, But because he was able to stay deadpan serious while, poking someone else and provoking someone else. You know what I mean? And the other person would start laughing, and he'd look at them and go. You know what I mean? He was hilarious, an absolutely hilarious guy. It's similar to what we hear in our reading today, right? Just obviously this is much more sinister. The godless say to themselves, "Let us lie in wait for the virtuous man, since he annoys us. He opposes our way of life. He reproaches us for our breaches of the law and accuses us of playing false to our upbringing. Let us see if what he says is true. Let us observe what kind of an end he will have. If the virtuous man is God's son, God will rescue him. God will take care of him. Let us test him with cruelty and torture." It's an interesting kind of a thing. You do see this in real life. And we do see this in real life. If someone has a position of moral authority, be that parents or politicians or public figures in general, priests included, people will often kind of test and poke to see if they really hold the standard they're supposed to hold, and in a way it's not entirely wrong. Obviously this is torturous, this is wrong. The reading here goes too far, but people in authority should hold a certain moral standard. If we were to discover that our local politicians went to the Dáil drunk, we would be rightfully shocked and scandalized and so on, because they're supposed to hold a standard. So the sinister part here, though, is that these people, they don't necessarily say that the virtuous are wrong, but they oppose our way of life. They make us feel bad, right? What they say makes us feel bad. It's not that what they say is necessarily wrong, but it makes us feel bad. Okay, and this is exactly what we see in the world today, where because the general principle by which we live our lives is to be happy and to be comfortable, anything that makes us feel uncomfortable is wrong, including putting an effort into attaining anything good, including living a moral life, which is also uncomfortable at times. It can be uncomfortable to live a moral life. Much easier to just give way to all of your passions and pleasures and all that. But the reaction here is not so much let us kind of argue our way out of this or let us debate with these people, but their way of life makes us feel uncomfortable, right? It opposes their way of life, their virtuous way of life, opposes our way of life. So let us see if what they say is true, and they expose them to various tortures. I was thinking of a story. There was a village in northern Africa called Abytine, right? Abytine, this is during it's about the year 304, so under the rule of the Emperor Diocletian, right? Very, very sinister character there who did not like Christians at all. So in the year before, in the year 303, he wrote an edict commanding that all church buildings, so all churches, and the scriptures should be destroyed. Right, this is the year 303. So Jesus died in 33-ish. The church is still relatively young, but we have, 4, 5 generations, 6 generations of Christians under persecution at this point. So quite some time, 2.5 centuries of persecution of the church at this point. So difficult times. And now he orders the scriptures. And remember, you couldn't just run the Bible off on a printing press, right? Copies of the scriptures were handwritten, so there weren't many of them, and they were absolute treasures because they were so rare. So he ordered that scriptures be burned and all church property be destroyed. So any churches be destroyed. So in this village in Abytine, northern Africa, the faith there was very strong. The people there were fervent, and they said, we must attend Mass. This was entirely legal. We must attend Mass, they said. So there was a faithful man there named Emeritus, and he would host the Masses in his house. But it became a kind of a regular occurrence. So the Roman authorities came to know about it. Right? This man, Emeritus, is hosting Masses. There are people coming here. So the soldiers surrounded it. People went to Mass, and either during or after the ceremony, all of them were arrested, 49 of them. And they were brought to the local magistrate. And they were asked, Emeritus was asked the simple question, why did you do this? I mean, why did you disobey what our emperor has commanded? Why disobey him? Why risk everything you have? Why risk your life for this? And there's the famous answer from Emeritus is, Sine Dominicae non possumus, non possumus, which means without the Sunday, so without the Sunday celebration of Holy Mass, non possumus, we can't even live. We can't even be. So we can't survive, in English maybe. Without the celebration of Mass, we can't even live. Now, when I heard that, I think it reminded me of two things. One, what is our understanding of the Eucharist? What is our understanding of Holy Communion? Just a kind of an optional extra, a bit of a bonus, or something actually essential, something central, something like our greatest treasure. And secondly, how do we see Sunday, not just the Eucharist like this, but the celebration of Mass, the Lord's Day? Without the Sunday celebrations, we can't even live. It's a profound statement from the early 4th century, which I think is still completely relevant to us today. Our way of doing things as Catholics is different. It's different to the rest of the world. It's different to those who don't practice. I'm not saying we're better, but our way is different. Because we follow the Lord, what we do is different. But we're doing so because we love the Lord. Because we believe that following His will, following His way, makes us happier. That it creates a better family, a better society, a better country. This does work. What the Lord asks us to do works. And this may bring us difficulty along the way, because not everyone will agree with us. But the celebration of Holy Mass, the reception of the Eucharist, this is so important to us. This is central to us. Without the Sunday celebrations, we can't even live. So we ask the good Lord today to renew our love for Him, to renew our love for the Eucharist, to renew our love for Mass. And even when it happens that there are those who don't necessarily agree with us or don't maybe like us because of our stance on certain things, that with all calm and with all love, we continue to love them, pray for them, with all the virtue that we can muster to still remain fervent and faithful to the Lord's teaching. And that one by one and little by little, we might build up the Lord's kingdom. Amen.